Hi, it's me again. Just dropping in to say hi. I am Catherine Anderson. Uh, this is my book, Spring Forward, my latest release, a January release, in fact. And do I have a crooked? So, um, anyway, this is a book. If you're looking for something good to read, it's ready to spring forward right into your hands. The reason I'm in here, I'm working on another book right now. It's going to be titled Strawberry Hill. It makes me think of the strawberries that we used to pick as we walked up every year in the summer to our family graveyard. It was a long walk up through there, and my mom would point out all the wild strawberries, and we would run along this it was a road, but it had narrowed down to an old trail that used to go to her family ranch. And we would pick the strawberries, and they were so good. I can remember crawling up on the red Grays Creek clay banks and picking those strawberries. I also think about strawberry wine, all kinds of things. So anyway, the title is going to be Strawberry Hill. And it's going to feature an outfitter named Slade Wilder. He's going to be an older man who I think is going to be quite a character. I happen to have met an outfitter that my son visits with frequently, and I really enjoy him. He's an older guy, so he's got some really amazing tales to tell. But anyway, Slade, at the very beginning of the book, is going to find a little black bear, but it's blonde. I don't know if you are aware that black bears are not always black. Sometimes they're beautiful cinnamon color, and sometimes they're blonde. I think it's I won't say it's rare, because one time my husband Sid was out hiking and he was followed by a bear. He couldn't see it, but when he finally did see it, it was a great big blonde black bear. So you do see them in the wild if you're out in the wild a lot, but they're not the norm. Usually you'll see black bears, and they're black or a dark brown, but they are blonde sometimes. So this little black bear, or blonde bear, should I call it a blonde bear? He is orphaned at the very beginning of the story, in the prologue. His mom is killed in a bad accident, and you don't see that, so it's not going to make you sad. In the prologue, it's about Slade Wilder rescuing this baby, and it's a terrible decision for anybody that is halfway familiar with wildlife to interfere at all with black bears, to feed them, try to rescue them. Anything like that is really frowned upon by fish and game organizations that are state-run. People accidentally rescue baby bears that they think are orphaned, but they're not really. Mama bears will leave their babies alone to go off and do something, and she comes back and some well-meaning human has taken her baby. And as you will learn as you read Strawberry Hill, the fate of those babies that are taken unnecessarily from their mothers or from their natural habitat is not a walk in the park. The rescue centers are crowded. Finding permanent homes for a baby black bear, or even an older bear, in a zoo or a wildlife observatory where they can have something close to a natural environment, are getting filled. I mean, if you think about all the black bears, and you'll learn about that in Strawberry Hill. But So it's a big decision for Slade Wilder to make when he decides that he's going to rescue this baby bear. He knows for a fact, he saw the mother's body, so he knows for a fact the baby is orphaned. He tries to get help and he can't. So this is the beginning of Strawberry Hill. I want to show you, just in case you've never seen, a little blonde black bear cub. Isn't he darling? Oh, he's just so cute. The little bear in my book is going to be named, I love this picture. It reminds me of Gus, the way he is with his mama Brooke right now. Although Gus is a lot older than this little bear, but isn't that the cutest picture you ever saw? Now, this is just a little blonde black bear on his mama's back. And I talk about kids, get off my back for a while. This is it. I think he's just so cute. I hope you can see him clearly. And of course, these pictures are just taken off the web. Anyway, I wanted to give you a little bit about the story, just to tease you a little bit and give you some information, because I'm in here to ask all of you to kind of help me out. Slade Wilder was madly in love when he was a young man, a young cowboy. He has a ranch and he's also an outfitter in the down season in the fall. After he's done all the harvested his fields and gotten the hay all baled and it's all stored, he is an outfitter. Outfitters take hunters into the wilderness to hunt. I'm not a hunter, but I find people who do that very interesting. So Slade does guide people into the wilderness in the fall. And you're going to see a lot of the people in Mystic Creek that you've fallen in love with, because Slade offers tents. He sets up tents for extra people, and they're welcome to come up for a couple of days and hang out in what all outfitters will refer to as their base camp. Base camps are really interesting. I've talked to a lot of people about base camps. They're way far away from things. You have to ride into them. Anyway, Slade, with this very young romance, he was, I think, around 21 years old, a cowboy. I'm sure he was a really handsome guy. He fell madly in love with the woman, and he asked her to marry him, and they were engaged to be married. And that all gets messed up by a girl who has a huge crush on Slade. And Slade he goes to a roundup, and he's partying with his buddies after all the work. They're drinking cold beer from a keg, and he gets a little tight. This girl goes to his fiancée and tells her that they were intimate at this party. I'm not going to get into all the details, but I'm going to go later when years have passed and the girlfriend comes back into the picture. And I won't say how she ends up being at Slade's base camp, but she is. And she is very, very angry with him to this day. So she plays practical jokes on him in the woods. And I'll tell you two of Slade's, just his greatest fears, and I share them, so I can write about these really well. He is terrified of snakes. Now, at this time of year, it should be a little late for snakes to be out. The book is set in Oregon, in the mountains, so it should be a little late, but it wouldn't be impossible for a snake to be out and about. He's terrified of snakes, and he's terrified of spiders. So this woman is going to play some practical jokes on him. Her name is Vicky, her first name. And she's about Slade's age. They were, high school sweethearts. So I was wondering if all of you would like to come up with some ideas for practical jokes that Vicky can play on Slade. I found a few. I did some research on the internet and just put in camping practical jokes. So you can do some pretty, they're harmless things, but I wouldn't want anything that would be dangerous, but just funny things that she could have him or play on him and have him do when he gets the trick played on him. So I'm hoping that you'll all post here, look it up, or were you ever out camping and someone played a practical joke on someone else? And I had an aunt that every year, my parents were hunters, and like I said, I'm not a hunter, but I do love going into the wild. And this aunt, some people say aunt, I say aunt. My nieces say auntie, they call me auntie. We would go out and camp, and the adults were all hunting, and she would play practical jokes. She was horrid. My dad got up one morning and slipped his feet into his boots, and they were filled with shaving cream. And then I can remember her sitting by the campfire, and she would just be laughing so hard she was crying. And you just never knew what she was going to pull next. And salt in the coffee, I remember that one, where she put salt into the sugar thing that we had on a table, and everybody was putting salt in their coffee. Take a sip and then spew it everywhere all over the campfire. But so if you would just give me some ideas, I think it'd be fun. And the favorite joke that one of you posts for me, and this will be one of those times it won't be a random pick for someone who wins the prize. It's going to be the joke that I love the most, will receive a signed copy of Spring Forward, an autographed copy from me. So I hope you guys think about it and you send me heaps of good ideas. And so with that question, I'm going to sign off. I'm going to be watching to see if I get a flood of answers. That'll be great. I'm signing off. This is Catherine Anderson. I can't see you, but you can see me.